Hi class, welcome to English 101. I'm excited to have all of you on board, and I thought it'd be good to step you through for week one and give you some tips along the way. So yeah, the first thing you're gonna do, I guess you've already done it if you can see this video, is when you're gonna be logging on to the class site, and I'm gonna minimize me a little bit and move me over so you can see a little better. Yeah, here you're going to see our class site. And one of the first things I suggest doing if you read this welcome message is to make sure that you take a look at the syllabus really carefully, and especially the timeline. I'll show that to you in a minute. I really suggest you print out that timeline of assignments. You also will see what you need to do by navigating to the assignment tests and surveys tab over here, but yeah, in the syllabus, I think if you print something out and you're able to check it off as you go, that would be helpful. Make sure you take that quiz on the syllabus by Sunday before midnight, because you don't want me to drop you from the class. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a look at that syllabus. I guess I just disappeared. I'll get me back a little bit later, not too big of a deal. But yeah, my view is a little different, so let me get to, it looks like it's going to take a second. But you're going to want to read through the syllabus. There's lots of important information in there. I'm going to highlight two important areas here. The required texts and materials, there's 3 books that you're supposed to get for the class. A textbook with all the short stories, Prayer for Owen Meany, one of my favorite contemporary books, and Doubt, which is a screenplay by John Patrick Shanley. And I want you to note, if you take a look, open this reading list, if in a pinch, if you're having trouble getting the textbook, if you open up this document reading list, you're going to find links to free versions of the stories. I still suggest that you get the books because I don't know whether all these links are still working, but if you are to look at this reading list document. I'm going to scroll down to the other really important, definitely take a look at getting started, that's going to help you. But big thing here is in the syllabus is this timeline for assignments. Make sure you open this document. It's an Excel document, and I want you to download it. If you print it off, that would be great. Because it's going to really help you make sure you get everything done. I'll open that up. I'll show you week 1 in a minute, and we'll talk through that. But yeah, we have points breakdown, and you can look through the rest. But let me go take you look. Another way that you can know what to do for the class each week is to go to the assignment tests and surveys section, and when that pops up, you're going to see all the assignments, and they tell you when they open, which is going to be on Mondays, and then they'll tell you when they close, which is going to be on Sundays. So that's another way you can keep track of what you need to do. I'm going to go into, and well, give you one more tip. If you go to modules, most of the directions and actual teaching is going to go on in these modules. So you can see the literary terms. There's more text versions of explanation and more video versions of explanations as well. But if you scroll down, you'll see for writing assignments the same, and for grammar as well. So the modules are where you find the real instruction of how to do things or content. But let me open up probably what is one of the more important things. I just cut and pasted out from that timeline of assignments in the syllabus, that Excel document. I just cut and pasted out the first week of assignments here, and I want to just step you through those. So the first one is to the class site at Turnitin.com. So when you go to Turnitin.com, you want to register for our class. There's directions in both the module and the assignment tests and surveys section that tell you how to do that. We have a class, we have a code, and then there's a password as well. So that's pretty self-explanatory. People don't usually have trouble with that. The next part, these are all things that you receive points for. The next section, so the second, third, fourth, That's kind of combined, those two. Fifth, those are kind of combined. Those are all in the discussion section. You're going to, and I'll show you these in a minute, but you're going to introduce yourself to the class. You're going to answer a question about why we take English 101. You're going to read The Swimmer, ideally from the text, and Why I Write Short Stories, which is towards the back of the text. If you're looking, you can look up the stories that's by author. So that's the easiest way in the index. If you can't find the stories, look them up by the author. And then, which The Swimmer's John Cheever, so is Why I Write Short Stories. The Darling is by Chekhov, and you'll see the link to Chekhov's intent. You'll see what page number that's for in the textbook when you read The Darling. Anyway, I'll show you all of these in a minute, but all of these are things, The Swimmer and Why I Write Short Stories is combined, and The Darling and Chekhov's intent is combined, but you're going to be answering questions for each of these. Now some people are confused because there's actually two different types of points for assignments, for discussions. For stories, you're expected to answer the questions that I have set up, and that's how you get full credit for each of the stories. But then you'll also see this additional discussion posts. You receive other points each week for responding to your classmates. So if you're wondering how to get full credit for discussion, you need to respond to my questions thoroughly with a paragraph. And then you need to also, it depends on the week, but the first few weeks you have to respond to 4 discussion posts from other students. Total, not for each story, but just for the week. That's how you're going to earn full credit for that. So let's actually take a look at that so you can see. We'll go to the discussions, and I'll open up class discussions. Hopefully this is going to work for me. It's waiting. Okay, and then you'll see Why English 101. When you click on that, it looks like we'll already have some submissions here, but I have a question for you. I expect you to write a paragraph about it and read through your other classmates' ideas, and then respond to the required number of weekly responses to classmates' submissions. So I'm going to go back to the class discussions, and you'll see and then class introduction, same. You're going to introduce yourself to the class. You can feel free to respond to other students, and that'll count towards your weekly responses. Or you could do it all in one story, all 4 in one story, or you could spread them out. But you have to respond to one of my questions for each of these threads, and then you have to, in total, for these are the first 4 threads for the first week, you have to pick 4 classmates' responses to respond to here. Okay, so let's just take a look at The Swimmer here. So you'll see I have 3 questions. I really only expect you to pick 1 question, but respond to it thoroughly with a full paragraph. If you want to touch on more than 1, that's fine. And then the other thing I just ask is, it really helps me if you reply to my questions with 1 post, and then for each other student that you respond to have individual posts for them as well, rather than combining my response and your responses to students. It helps me in grading a lot if you could do that. Okay, so let me go back. We're getting close to finish here. Quiz on the syllabus. Remember, you have to take that by Sunday night, midnight, to not be dropped from the class. Things that I would pay attention to are that you, in the syllabus, I expect you to be using Microsoft Word and turning in any written assignment that's like a response or an introduction, anything that's working towards an essay or is a response. I expect you to turn it in to turnitin.com. You don't have to turn it in as a private attachment to a private message as well. If I have any directions that say that, please let me know because I want to try and delete those. You don't have to do that, just to Turnitin.com. I will give you feedback for each of your assignments that you submit, written assignments that you submit as a private message. I'll give you a Microsoft Word attachment that has a rubric and also has inserted comments. I'll show you one of those another time. Next week I'll show you. And then the final thing that you have for this week, and really the only thing that you need to submit to Turnitin.com, is response number 1. And I'm going to be creating a little video on how to do that response number 1 and how to format that. So anyway, this is the content for the week. If you have questions, feel free to send me a private message. Make sure you include the word question in it so that I know that you have a question. And I'll respond to it as quickly as I can. And other thing, just real thing to highlight for the syllabus is to make sure you pay attention to the finish date of class. Class does not finish in the end of the term is not on a Sunday. So make sure you pay attention to that because I don't want that to take you by surprise. I know it's 12 weeks away, but it's important to keep in mind. So like I said, feel free to ask me any questions. It's best if you send it as a private message as opposed to the question thread in the discussions is a little bit more for you to get questions answered from your classmates. Yeah, feel free to send me questions and I look forward to working with all of you. Take care.